So typically, we're going to refer this on to the Board of Commissioners. But Stephanie and the rest of the people could not be here next week. So we're going to do the ceremony part of this today, and then we'll approve this next week. I was very privileged to have been able to work with your mom, and she's very patient with all of us crazy people who invaded her space at 911. So here is the resolution. Thank you very much.
Michael, was this your first office? Wasn't 911?
I just wanted to say that she enjoyed her job, and I thank you for allowing her to continue through her sickness, even though you knew she couldn't do it like her job like she used to be able to. It was a pleasure. She was an amazing lady. Thanks very much.
There are people alive today that wouldn't be because of Sue's leadership. She was devoted to her job and to the safety of this community, and we're all better for it. And she won't be forgotten.
When I first was put on the 911 board, I went in and sat down with Sue and learned more about 911 than anybody could possibly teach me. And one of the things she told me, that this was her first office. Her and Charlie Nystrom's office was up here before they built 911. Very nice lady.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think they were upstairs in the,
Oh, really?
I think
Okay.
they do.
Over in the annex.
Yeah. So is there any more discussion? Would anybody else like to add anything about Suzanne or the resolution? Then the motion was made by Gibson, supported by Parker. And I turned it over. To recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of Resolution 19-11, resolution to honor Suzanne Rose, Administrative Assistant at Central Dispatch. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, Tim Neeb is here to present the next item. The chair would entertain a motion to accept the design of the parking lot for the historic Berry County Courthouse.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Parker, or moved by Gibson, I'll get it right, moved by Geiger, supported by Parker. Tim, the floor is yours.
Good morning. A few weeks ago, we brought a design up to you folks, and you asked for some changes. The architects have made those changes, and so I'm bringing this back to you today to get your input and see if we can move forward.
Can we go to the next page, Luella, with the canopies? So pretty much, Tim, this is what the committee of the whole has to choose between today, between 1, 2, or none of the above.
You can certainly make other changes if you'd like.
I think number 2 looks pretty nice.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is it okay?
Go ahead.
Madam Chair? Okay. Is there anything that's going to be given up with number 2? Is there going to be parking spaces missing or anything along that line?
No.
Okay.
No, neither of the options changed. Let me rephrase that. We did lose some parking spaces when we added the pass-throughs. So from the last time, We have lost, I think, 2 spots. But it has nothing to do with these awnings whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
I see nothing wrong with number 2 as long as we want to put the steps in. And I have nothing against putting the steps in, but before we okay it, we need to know the price of it, right? We can choose either one, with steps or without, right?
If I can interrupt for a minute, we're not asking you to decide on one or the other. So effectively, this plan will provide 3 options. We'd like to get your approval conceptually to go out to bid, to obtain bids, and we'd be asking for, Luella, if you could go to the parking lot. We'd be doing one with a parking lot, effectively just the parking lot itself. Redoing that grayed-in area, and then if I can, level of, I wouldn't make a surgeon, I can tell you that. Right along there will be sidewalk that will add delineating the parking lot from the building, if you may. Then if you'll go to the next one, Luella. There will be an alternate, and that first alternate right here is to then do the parking lot plus a canopy over top of the existing ramp that is there. So we'll have a price for the parking lot and then a price to add the canopy to just this. And then we're asking for a second alternate, and that will be to do a stairwell plus a canopy that covers everything. And we recognize that this might be more than we are willing to budget at this point. We just don't know. We don't have a budget number and won't until we obtain bids. So we would come back at a time, and we're looking at as well at the schedule right now to decide whether we go out to bid right now, which is kind of late in the construction season. Folks have their projects lined up, or wait until this winter and get it as a spring project next year, so we get it early in the bidding process, hopefully getting a little bit better prices. But again, what we're asking for right now is just conceptually, are you okay with the layout of the parking lot and the 2 alternates that we're looking at? We certainly could come back. This is an architect's sketch of a canopy. When we go out to bid, we might have a vendor, a contractor. We all know how sometimes when architects design something, contractors say, hey, wait a minute, that looks great on paper, but here's why we can't do it that way, or there's a better alternative. We might come back with something slightly different, but conceptually is what we're looking for. At the end, we would come back with options for you then to make a final decision based on both what the proposal would be and the price.
Commissioner Connor?
So right, that was one of my questions. We're gonna bid, they'll get bids on both styles. But my other question is I got to looking at this on Friday morning and had some discussions with Michael about this, because my truck's 7 foot 11 inches wide, and those handicap spaces are only 8 foot wide.
Yeah.
I know your truck isn't gonna fit in it. Your truck is bigger than mine is. And this is Berry County, so there's lots of trucks out there. So I had some concerns about those 8 foot wide parking spots on the handicaps. So, and my truck's 19 feet long, and those are only 18 feet long, so. And again, I know I have a big truck, but this is.
It's a nice looking truck.
Dan's is big, Dan's
Like-
is longer.
Yeah, so I mean, and I'm not, Berry County has lots of pickup trucks, so, or big sport utilities and things like that. So I did have some concerns about those 8 foot wide.
I think that was mentioned the last time, and So we looked into what are we currently doing in the county, and depending on the building, there are all sorts of different sizes. I think the standard probably is 9 foot.
Okay,
When you look up standards for parking lots, that's kind of, they run from 8 to 9 foot for parking spaces. The ones in the courthouse right now are 9.5 feet, so they're exceptionally wide. And part of those design widths get into the fact of how much space do you have. They're the size they are because of the width of our parking lot, and to divide those up appropriately, that's what they come out to. With this one, with the amount of spaces that they have, you know, they're 8 foot. Now, we can certainly have them make those 9 foot. That's just an issue of the marking.
because most of the staff ones are 9 feet, or the staff or other ones are 9 feet.
I think.
So,
Oh, certainly, yeah,
You mean next to the annex?
or even on,
even for the other ones.
all the other ones are 9 foot, but the handicaps are 8.
But you also have the place for wheelchairs to get out of there, which widens the 8 foot, doesn't it?
Yes.
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
How many spaces are dedicated to police parking?
2.
Thought as if you had to move them, couldn't you move them to the north of the building where the other police spaces are?
I don't know what you're asking me, Ben.
If you had to, if you felt this parking lot had too tight of spaces,
Oh.
could you move the 2 marked police cars to the front of the building and just add in a concrete slab for 2 more cars?
Sure, I'm sure we could.
I mean, are they in the southeast corner right there? Is that the marked place?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not,
Those vehicles are probably using courts and law.
They
They're
go both
limited-
places.
Yeah, they're limited space there.
They're not necessarily bringing in prisoners, are they, when they park there?
No.
Okay. Sometimes.
Is
Oh,
the parking places right in front of courts and law restricted to police also?
Yes.
Street, yeah.
So that makes it about 5 places for police, right?
Yeah, certainly if we wanted to make those handicap spaces wider, if we got through, get rid of one of those pass-throughs, would give you some extra room to do that.
thank you, though, for moving them down towards where the beginning of the ramp is. I do appreciate that, so.
you
But-
probably need to get this issued pretty quick, don't you?
I think we're probably looking at this as a next year project. So,
The lines, I mean, if the concept, I think, I don't want that to slow it up, but maybe, you know, we can look at the 3 versus 4, you know, to give those people, you know, and it really wouldn't slow up the bid process. It's paint.
I think we're probably, as Michael said, late in the year to start to bid this. I think probably it's, if we can get it approved, we can look at this spring, early spring, getting some bids out to do this next year. So we've got plenty of time to,
So anyways, because if you take if you've got a single car garage stall or single door, if you put your vehicle in there so that the doors would open into the side where the side of the garage comes down, because that's a 9-foot opening, you're gonna find that you can't get your doors open very far. If you do that, I mean, with your, if you have a single stall garage, because that's the opening is 9 foot prior, when you put the door in, then you've got the stops and all that you add on, but it's pretty tight.
Are they currently 9 feet now that's out there?
What's out there now is, they're 9.5 feet in this lot.
In this lot here,
The
okay.
Courts and Law building, they're all 9 feet.
9 feet in courts and law, okay, all
Yep.
right.
Yeah, 9 feet,
Any
I think
other-
it's, but yeah, but I was surprised that most all the other ones, the ones down here by the annex are a little bigger than 9 foot, but most of the other ones are 9 for just staff and other parking, but I was surprised to see the handicap was only 8.
Plus the extra sides.
Well, right.
Yeah. I have a question for Michael. Putting stairs in, is that gonna cause any kind of increase in liability or cost-wise or anything along that line?
Just the cost of the construction. But as far as insurance or,
Because we're in the pool, that's not gonna,
like, no, we, they will be,
I know with steps, there's more accidents with steps than ramps would be, obviously.
they'll be maintained as, they'll be constructed to normal standards and acceptable
Okay.
construction standards, but no, it shouldn't add anything additional. As long as they're kept salted and those types of things.
Any other questions for Tim or Michael?
I think it's a good plan. You've definitely listened to the Board of Commissioners and came back pretty quick with the changes. The perimeter fencing, that's going to be similar to the style that the current Courts and Law parking lot has?
This plan does not have perimeter fencing.
Does not have perimeter
No.
fencing, okay.
We have some fencing that, some decorative fencing that hides our chiller.
All right.
Right there will be some, where there's a, they call them shrubs, but they're
Yeah.
evergreens. Those will be removed and it will be replaced with
And because of the utility lines, we can't put trees into that strip of grass there.
I suppose you could put trees there.
It's just
Maybe
that
some
the whole
flowering.
courthouse has a perimeter of trees as it is, except for that one side.
My experience would be you'd be probably asking for some trouble in your parking lot in the future.
I'm not here for trouble.
You need a motion to table this?
We should table it.
I don't think so. I think that we need to proceed. I think, in my opinion, if the sooner we get this bid on, the more we can ensure that it'll get done, if not this fall, in the spring. And to get on somebody's docket for right away to, just so we can move this project to
But isn't there
the
a
completed
motion to-
list. There's a motion to approve and to
Approve
send
the
it to the,
design.
yep. And then we'll have to do an RFP.
Okay.
I guess I don't pay attention. How many handicap parking places we got out there now?
Two.
And we're gonna have 4? If we want them wider, let's go mediocre and put 3 in.
It's, at this point, the construction of the lot
Right.
is the important part. The paint comes later.
Paint, yeah.
That's,
So
I
we-
agree.
We could put in 4 and then take the paint off and put in 3 later if it didn't work out.
Right.
So that part's just paint.
yeah, I think we need to move forward at least putting it out for a bid, and that is just paint. So, and trees, I think we have enough trees. Somebody said that when you sit at the main stop down there, you can't,
said that.
you can't see the courthouse anyways for all the trees.
So, is there any more discussion? The motion was made by Geiger, approved by Parker to accept or approve the design of the parking lot for the historic Berry County Courthouse. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
I-
Opposed, nay? The item is approved. Now, do we need to do a separate one for RFP, Michael? It's not on my agenda, but did,
no, I think it was not unless you'd like to. We can-
Okay, Vivian?
I got it. It'd been flying around me.
I didn't think you were that upset about the striping.
No, it had been flying around me for that.
If you're all right going out for an RFP, we'll just issue that.
Okay. Alrighty.
When it's appropriate, we'll look at the timing of it.
Thank you, sir. Tim's here with the next item. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to spend $21,000 to repair and update the clock tower on the historic Berry County Courthouse with funds to be paid from the Building Rehabilitation Fund.
So moved.
Or,
Moved by Gibson, support by Geiger. Tim?
Good morning again. So our clock tower, if you notice, we have one face that's off by about 10 minutes. The short story is the clock put itself into a fast-forward mode about 3 months ago and threw that clock face off. We had the company Verdin as the manufacturer of that clock tower. I had them come out and take a look at the whole mechanism up there. And he came back with 2 quotes on how to fix that. The least expensive quote installs a new timer, a new control system to run it, and one of the 4 motors to run the clock faces. One of those motor assemblies has gotten very wore out. I think, to the best of my recollection, those things are about 20 years old. So one of those has gotten bad. So we could go through and put in the new controller, put in one motor component, and be done with it at this point. And I think that bid was the lower price, obviously was the lower price. I think it was somewhere around $13,000. Yeah, $12,700 to do that. The problem with that is there's 3 more motor assemblies in there, and they're probably at the end of their life. And as I talked to the company about that, each one of those individually is about $7,000 to replace. So we could very easily, in the next few years, put another $20,000 into this to get those things taken care of. The more expensive quote, again, replaces the controller, and then it removes all 4 of those individual clock motors, and it replaces it with one central motor that runs all 4 clock faces. The advantage of that is all 4 clocks always say the same time. Even if they're off, they're at least all the same time. Now you know it's very difficult to adjust those clock faces, and it's even more difficult depending with the trees on the angle to make sure they're all the same time. It kind of depends on the angle you're at whether they're the same or not. So this would eliminate that. This would have all 4 of them be the exact same time all the time. And then it's, when that piece of the puzzle is taken care of, it's very simple to, if they get a couple minutes off, to change that. So I think the quote was somewhere around a little over $18,000 to do that one. $19,000. And that does not include the lift that they'll need to do that with. With the new central clock motor, for some reason, the shafts are different. So they will be required to put new hands on the clock faces. So they need to get a big lift out here to do that. So there's a little money put in here to get that lift out here also.
Will they be striking the time?
Yep, it'll be the same. That will be the same, although it'll be much more efficient. Currently, the old system, the old controller has no provision for power outage, nor it has a provision for daylight savings time, but the provision was programmed in for 20 years ago, and that has changed. So now, every spring and every fall, we're up there twice. It changes on its own at the wrong time. So we have to reset it, and then a week or two later, we have to change it when the actual time is. So it eliminates all of those things too.
Is there any mason work involved in this?
No.
Dan?
Now, the 3,000 though, we do not pay the rental. They're gonna get the lift that they need, or do we have to get the lift?
That's yet to be determined.
Okay, all right.
Verdun is a national company.
Right, yeah.
And so they may come to us and say, the local people where we can get a lift from, or possibly they will do that themselves. But when he quoted it, he did not go to companies to find out what that price might be.
Thinking liability-wise, that's all I'm thinking, if there's a problem. The other thing too is that I think one of those faces of that clock is talking to this one here, because this one's off too. It's about 10 minutes, so.
No, it's off of over an
Hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, hour and 10 minutes, that's right.
John?
The way it is now, when you go to reset it, you can't back the clocks up, right?
No, all you can do is,
This county only moves forward. We don't go backwards.
Amen.
it's fast
Good
forward.
answer, Ben.
You can fast forward, you can't go backwards with them. No, just the way the mechanisms work. You can't go backwards.
Will you be able to with a new mechanism, or will that be all forward?
Well, I don't know how that will work. It's a goofy, I hate to get too deep into that, but we obviously can shut power off to them too. So if we have to just put them on hold for a few minutes, we can do that.
Ben?
Aesthetically, will the clock faces look any different?
The clock faces won't. I'm not sure exactly what the hands will look like. I think there's different options to choose from. I haven't seen those options.
Because we've changed throughout the history. We've gone from light clock faces to dark clock faces.
We've got two of them in the basement
Yeah.
next door from some of the old ones.
So we're going to keep black clock
Yes,
faces?
yes, that will be the same. That's not included in here.
Well, I was wondering about the hands. Are they going to be the same size hands that are currently up there?
I would think they'd be the same size. It sounded like they might be just a little bit different in design, and it sounded like there were 3 or 4 to choose from.
Okay.
But I haven't seen
I saw
pictures.
6 foot on the hands, but I didn't know if that's currently what's up there.
We used to have a little hand right there behind Dan in that area.
Commissioner Parker, then Gibson.
I was in charge of getting a clock for the village of Middleville through Rotary, and they can, computer-wise, they can do just about anything with that. Back it up, go forward, play 100 different tunes, and it was, I don't know what the mechanism is, but it's handling four hands, 4 different pair of hands. Is there anything that it can be computerized to change things with, or is that what you're doing now?
It is computerized now. So the controller itself is computerized. As far as playing the music, what we have up in the clock tower right now is the original bell. So that original bell is going to gong 1 tone.
Okay.
And unless you wanted to get rid of that and put some kind of a speaker system or something up there, we're not going to play different music up there. So that part of it, I guess that's up to you, but it is, the original bell is still up there, and that is what rings every hour. The computerized part of it, I don't believe that it's going to come with an interface to hook into the Wi-Fi so that we could, from our phones, control it. But I don't know if that's really an issue either.
Okay.
Commissioner Gibson?
Will they be lit up so you can see them at night?
That has nothing to do with the lighting. They currently is lit up, to my knowledge. I don't come by here that late at night. It seems like it was, when I was coming by here, in the morning when it was dark. But those are separate. That's lights that are shining up from the courthouse itself.
Any other questions for Tim? So the question before the committee is, be to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to spend $21,000 to repair and update the tower clock on the historic Berry County Courthouse with funds to be paid from the Building Rehabilitation Fund. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. How about we take a short break, 5 minutes, be back at a quarter, don't look at that, be back